music, it was just the streets, you know what I'm saying? We would just be in the hood, you know, on 10th Ave all day, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, doing what we doing in the street.
32 extendos in my Mac. Spend 1,000 on some t-shirts.
We were teenagers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys went to high school together and everything like that?
Nah, he went to I think he went to Hamilton. I went to Crenshaw. We'd be in the streets hustling, selling CDs and all that, you know what I'm saying? But we was gang members at the same time too, so we wouldn't be out there too much, you know what I'm saying? Somebody see us out there like, oh, there go them right there.
Were you close with his family?
Yeah.
What was it like dealing with
his family like my family? You know what I'm saying? We family.
It was that close?
Yeah.
It was
my
it.
brother.
Nipsey Hussle was one of the most loved and respected rappers in the game, and he had a huge circle of people around him. But there was one person whose bond with him went way beyond just friendship, Jay Stone.
Were you close with his family?
Yeah.
What was it like dealing with
his family like my family? You know what I'm saying? We family.
It was that close?
Yeah.
It was
my
it.
brother.
Their story goes all the way back to when Jay Stone was just 14 years old and became part of the Rolling 60s. That's when he met Nipsey, and right from the start, they clicked. They were both young, hungry, and ready to take on the world together.
For the music, it was just the streets, you know what I'm saying? We would just be in the hood, you know, on 10th Ave all day, you know what I'm saying? And just, you know, doing what we doing in the streets.
Whether it was hustling or handling street drama, they had each other's backs through it all. Life wasn't easy for Jay Stone though. With no real guidance, trouble seemed to follow him everywhere. By the time he was 15, he had already been shot multiple times and had been in and out of jail. His life felt like it was spiraling out of control. But the hardest moments were still ahead. As time passed though, he and Nipsey started to change, moving away from their old ways and pushing each other towards something bigger. They were building something special together, but then just as everything seemed to be coming together, Nipsey was tragically offed, and it felt like everything came crashing down for Jay Stone. However, throughout his life, Jay Stone had always faced loss after loss. He lost his mom when he was just 3 years old.
Mom died before I was barely 3 years old, you know what I'm saying?
Then his older brother when he was about 13 to 14.
My brother was buried on top of my mom, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, so we right here, man, revisiting the past, man, you know.
And the aunt who raised him also died a year after he was 14. Life was always throwing curveballs his way, but somehow he kept pushing forward. So how far did they both go? Let's dive right in. Jay Stone and Nipsey Hussle weren't just friends. They were practically family, having known each other for more than half their lives. According to Jay Stone, when he met Nipsey, he had just gotten out of a fight with one of his other homeboys, and ever since, they have been locked in. Jay Stone became one of the original members of Hussle's All Money and No Money Out label, and is still making music even years after Hussle's tragic death. They both grew up in Crenshaw, a neighborhood that shaped them with its vibrant culture. Lowriders cruising the streets, cookouts, block parties, corner stores, and basketball courts. But Crenshaw wasn't all good vibes. Growing up there meant facing dangers that could change or end your life in an instant. By the time they were 14, they had both joined the Rollin' 60s Crips, one of the most infamous gangs in the country. Life in the hood was raw. Hustling, gang life, violence, it was all right outside their doors.
It was like the middleman, you know what I'm saying? We'd be in the streets hustling, selling CDs and all that, you know what I'm saying? But we was gang members at the same time too, so we wouldn't be out there too much, you know what I'm saying? Somebody see us out there like, oh, there go them right there. You
But amidst all that chaos, there was also a sense of belonging and protection. Hussle put it best in a 2014 interview. The culture of my area is gang culture. So by being outside, being involved with hustling, doing things trying to get money, being young and riding your bike through the hood, getting shot at, your loved ones and your homies that's your age getting offed, getting jumped at malls and basketball and football games, we were just raised if you with me, and something go down, I'm in it. To outsiders, it might look like they were just two black kids caught up in a cycle of violence, but their bond went deeper than gang ties or neighborhood loyalty. Crenshaw and the Rollin' 60s might have brought them together, but it was their shared love of music that gave them a way out.
know, we from the same neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? So that right there just, you know, and then, you know, we like the same things, you feel me? So we got together on that, then we both was doing music, man, you know what, let's go to the studio. You know what I'm saying? We went to the studio, we vibed out, and then we just started making records after records, and then you know, it took off after that.
Even before the idea of Grammy Awards felt remotely possible, the two were grinding in the studio, chasing a dream. Hussle once shared during a Victory Lap concert how they sold fake dope just to scrape together money for weed and studio time because at that point, they had to hustle however they could. For us to have that story, it's just inspirational, bro, Jay Stone said, reflecting on those days. We weren't supposed to be doing it, but you know, we did it to get by. Back then, making music was a team effort, just the two of them figuring it out as they went. One would be in the booth rapping while the other handled the engineering. It wasn't easy. They dealt with everything from dodging cops to figuring out how to get their music out there. But through it all, their determination and friendship kept them moving forward. It was places that we couldn't go, Jay Stone said, thinking back. By us being from 60s, we couldn't go to the 8 Trey Gangsters territory and put up posters. We couldn't go to the Hoovers and put up posters. We couldn't go to Inglewood and put up posters without getting in altercations. But we was just trying to get our message across. So how did they make it happen? Stone said, we had to pay a couple of smokers. It was also a couple of homegirls from the hood too. We'll give them a few dollars and some weed and they'll go post up our posters everywhere that we didn't want to be seen.
We'd be in the streets hustling, selling CDs and all that, you know what I'm saying? But we was gang members at the same time too, so we wouldn't be out there too much, you know what I'm saying? But there go them right there, you feel what I'm saying? Let's pull up on them. So we'll be careful, you know what I'm saying? We'll pay smokers to go to our rival enemy hoods to put up posters and all that stuff. So
For your music?
yeah, for our music. Yeah.
So you wanted your enemies to be listening to your shit too?
Yeah.
Even with all the rivalries and boundaries, their focus was always on rising above it all. Sure, they wanted the money and the fame that came with being rap stars. That was way better than just being another name on the Cops Gang database, but more than anything, what they really craved was freedom. The goal was to inspire. As far as unity later on down the line, look what happened with him and YG and how they got so close. It brought a lot of unity together with Crips and Bloods. As the 2000s shifted into the 2010s, Hustle's All Money and label became the home base for him, Jay Stone, and the Slauson Boys crew, Kabi Supreme, Hoodster Rob, Cuzzy Capone, Rimpow the Rebel, BH, Rollo, Wee Dog, Tiny Draws, Killatwan, Jay Stone, and later artists like Pac-Man da Gunman. Hustle's output was relentless during this time, with new music dropping almost every year. Jay Stone kept pace too, with tracks like The Marathon Continues and All Get Right alongside Hustle, and his own steady stream of projects every year since 2013, except for one. All Money In gave them a way out, a shot at building something beyond the streets, but they never forgot how close they were to falling back into that life. It was always just one choice away. Jay Stone looked back on how Hustle stayed loyal during one of the hardest chapters of his life in the late 2000s and early 2010s. It felt like every time Hustle dropped a new project, Jay Stone was stuck behind bars.
Time, bro would drop a tape, I'd get locked up right before the release, so I would miss like the fun part. I'd be there
Okay.
for the grinding part, and then right when the fun is get ready to happen, I always go to jail.
Prison was its own battle, with fights against rival gang members, something Jay Stone laid bare on his 2021 track County Jail.
Be right here to the county jail. You know what I'm saying? This had to go. You know what I'm saying? Do some time right here. I was telling the story of how I had to go inside the blood dorm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a Crip.
But what really got to him was the guilt, the feeling that he'd let Hustle down. Even so, Hustle never let him spiral. They stayed in touch constantly, talking on the phone, with Hustle always bringing positivity into the conversation.
We built a lot, and then I'd go to jail, and then he'd be like, damn, bro, like, you feel me? But he never really looked at it like I did something wrong. He was like, bro, I understand, you know, it happens, you feel me? But you gonna be back out here, we're gonna get this shit right.
He would just be talking to me with just pure goodness, Jay Stone said, smiling at the memory. You know things happen, bro, Hustle would say. Just come home, we gon' run these laps again. Remember how we were stressing over weed and smoking cigarettes? You ain't gotta worry about that no more. Jay Stone recalled how Hustle always reminded him not to be too hard on himself. He'd tell me, don't be in there beating yourself up. We all make mistakes. That would always make me feel good. He'd ask me if I'm in there writing raps, like, cause that's what I didn't want you to do. Just throw it all away and stop writing. Their conversations covered everything: music, business, life, love, grief. Jay Stone vividly remembers one moment when Hustle opened up about fatherhood. More than anything else, more than music, money, or fame, Hustle loved being a dad. His kids, Amani and later Cross with Lauren London, were his pride and joy, the legacy he cared about most. When Jay Stone found out in 2008 that he and his child's mother were expecting, he was overwhelmed. They were still figuring out life, and the idea of raising a kid, no matter how exciting, felt daunting. I'm like, bro, why didn't you tell me this was gonna be so crazy? Jay Stone said, laughing. Hussle didn't sugarcoat it. He stopped what he was doing, looked Jay Stone in the eye, and told him straight up, parenthood wasn't easy, but it was also the most important thing he'd ever do. You've got a kid coming into this world who didn't ask to be here. Hussle told him, that's half you, and they're your responsibility for life. Hussle broke it all down. What to expect, how to handle the roller coaster of emotions during pregnancy, and what it meant to step up. He humbled me a little bit, Jay Stone admitted. Through it all, running the streets, doing time, chasing their dreams, and raising kids, Jay Stone had Hussle, and Hussle had Jay Stone.
Close with his family?
Yeah.
What was it like dealing with?
This family like my family. You know what I'm saying? We family.
It was that close.
Yeah.
It was
My
it.
brother.
That bond hasn't gone anywhere even now. Jay Stone admitted he'll never fully accept Hussle's death, but as hard as it is, he knows life moves forward, and Hussle's words and spirit are still with him every step of the way. So how did everything unfold about Nipsey's death? On March 31st, 2019, Jay Stone was deep in the studio working on his album, The Definition of Loyalty, a title that now feels like an unintentional tribute to the bond he shared with Nipsey Hussle. He was locked in on a track called 19, a collaboration with Hussle, fine-tuning the parts they had talked about redoing. Once he wrapped up, he dropped his girlfriend off at work and planned to head straight to Hussle's Marathon clothing store in Crenshaw, a place he had meant to be at earlier that day. I kinda got off to a late start, Jay Stone said, his voice tinged with regret. That decision to delay his visit weighed heavier than he could have imagined. Just as he was settling into his day, the call came in. Hussle had been shot.
Did you just get a call? Or did you show up? And
Nah, I got the call. I was already on my way up there, man. I got the call and, you know, I was 10 minutes late.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just leaving the studio, you know what I'm saying, on my way to the Marathon store, you feel what I'm saying? I got a call saying what happened. I'm trying to run every light, you know what I'm saying, to get up there, you feel what I'm saying?
In a blur of panic, Jay Stone slammed on the gas, racing to the scene. His heart pounded as prayers tumbled from his lips. He begged for a miracle, convincing himself that Hussle would pull through, that they'd have decades ahead to grow old together. After all, they had survived so much already. How could this possibly be the end? But it was. Losing Hussle wasn't just a blow. It was a gaping wound that refused to heal. For Jay Stone and for so many others in their circle, time hasn't dulled the pain. The idea that time heals all wounds feels more like a myth when you lose someone like Nipsey. Yet death could never erase their bond. Jay Stone still feels his friend's presence everywhere. Walk around Los Angeles and it's impossible to miss the murals and massive posters honoring Hussle. His voice echoes on tracks and in memories, and Jay Stone knows that won't change anytime soon, if ever.
Is it hard for you when you ride around the city now and you might just see a mural or you see something, you know what I'm saying? Does that like, you know, does that kind of like trigger you a little bit?
Nah, it don't me no more like and acknowledge the work, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like before it was just, you know, it was hard to look at certain things, it was hard to listen to certain songs, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But Hussle's death wasn't the first tragedy Jay Stone faced. His life has been marked by loss after loss, starting long before that fateful day in 2019. One of the earliest and most shattering moments came when Jay Stone lost his mother. He was just 3 years old, far too young to truly understand, but the story stuck with him. His mother had been offed by the police during a time when brutality like that wasn't often caught on camera.
What happened with your mom? Why did she pass so early, if you don't mind?
The police, man, you know what I'm saying? That was 1989, you feel what I'm saying? The crack epidemic was crazy, you know what I'm saying? The police force in the streets.
So your mom was killed during an interaction with the cops?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
She got pulled over on some man.
For years, he lived under the care of his aunt, believing she was his mother. Then at 13, another blow came. His 15-year-old brother Alvin, a member of the Rollin' 60s, was offed in a gang-related attack. The story goes that Alvin was hanging out with 2 other members when a rival gang ambushed them. It was a devastating loss, one that hit hard and marked a turning point for Jay Stone. As if that wasn't enough, tragedy struck again the very next year. At just 14, Jay Stone lost the woman he had thought was his mother, his aunt. And the losses didn't stop there. Most recently, he mourned the death of his younger brother Darren. Through it all, Jay Stone has been tested in ways that might have broken someone else. But somehow he's still here, still standing, still fighting. Life hasn't made it easy, but giving up was never an option for him. His losses shaped him, but they never defined him. And despite everything, Jay Stone keeps moving forward, because that's what Nipsey would have wanted, and that's what his family's memory demands. Death has a way of reshaping everything, and for Jay Stone, it added a new layer of responsibility to the legacy he and Hussle worked so hard to create. Hussle's mantra, "The marathon continues," isn't just a catchy slogan to Jay Stone, it's become his life's driving force. He carries it forward in big and small ways, from speaking Hussle's name in every interview, on every Instagram post, and through every lyric, to the deeply personal moments when Hussle's kids call him Uncle Jay Stone, or when he sees his own children laughing and playing alongside theirs. Words can't even express that feeling, he said, reflecting on the bond that ties their families together. But running this marathon isn't easy. Jay Stone has started opening up more about the pressure of carrying the torch, about how the weight sometimes feels unbearable. He's realized that bottling it all up only makes it harder. "I'ma forever feel like that. That's probably what keeps me going. I still got that chip on my shoulder. I still got that fight in me. I feel like I'm on life support," he continued. "It's a fight worth continuing. That much is clear. After all, it was that fighting spirit that first brought him and Hussle together." Now Jay Stone is standing tall as his own artist, with his own voice and his own story, just as Hussle had always wanted for everyone in their circle. Over the past few years, he's been in the studio with industry heavyweights like Usher, Hit-Boy, and even the late DMX, carving out his own lane while staying true to the foundation he and Nip built. Still, no matter how far he goes, Hussle's influence is always there. "If I could tell Nip one thing," Jay Stone said, pausing for a moment, "I would tell him, look, bro, your family and your kids are straight. You can be at peace, bro." But life hasn't been without its challenges. Recently, Jay Stone found himself in the spotlight for reasons he would have preferred to avoid. The rapper, whose real name is Randy Green, was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport on a felony warrant for aggravated robbery. Cameras caught the moment as authorities led him away in handcuffs, reading him his charges.
Why'd you record it, bro? Take that camera off.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Jay Stone's first brush with the law. Back in 2015, he faced accusations of his own daughter, a situation that only added to his already complicated legal history. At the time, there was a restraining order against him for domestic violence. The incident unfolded when Jay Stone took his 14-month-old daughter from her grandmother's home. The grandmother, Patty Pitchford, tried to stop him but couldn't. Thankfully, Jay Stone returned the child to her aunt the next day, but the episode left a lasting mark on his public image. Even with all the ups and downs, Jay Stone keeps running the marathon. He's not just surviving, he's striving to honor Nipsey's legacy while carving out his own. It's not a straight path, but then again, neither he nor Hussle ever expected it to be easy. For Jay Stone, the journey continues, because it has to. Despite the ups and downs, Jay Stone is still grinding hard and keeping his music career alive. He recently dropped the definition of success under Nipsey Hussle's label All Money and No Money Out, staying true to the legacy they built together. The album has been turning heads in the hip-hop world, especially because it includes a posthumous collaboration with Nipsey, something that hits fans right in the heart. Hit-Boy, the powerhouse producer behind one of the album's standout tracks, spoke about his bond with Nipsey, sharing stories about the late rapper's respect for everyone around him and the talent that set him apart. Jay Stone's recent arrest, though, serves as a reminder of the tough road he's walked. It's not just about the music. His legal troubles have been a heavy weight he's carried for years. Still, he's not letting that stop him. His music continues to strike a chord with fans who see the authenticity in his story, the wins, the losses, and everything in between. As he pushes through these turbulent times, one thing's for sure: Jay Stone's journey is far from over. Whether he's in the studio or facing life's challenges head-on, he's still running his marathon. For him, it's not just about where he's been, but about where he's headed. And as long as he keeps fighting, his story will keep inspiring.